Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Goldmine Radio. This is Dante Ormsby. Today, we're going to be talking about 3 lies we tell poor kids that make them poor adults. Now, this is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart because I grew up a poor kid. When I was growing up, and this was in the 80s and 90s, lunch items were status symbols. And I can remember going to lunch with my G.I. Joe metal lunchbox. And if you were poor, you only had one snack in your lunchbox. Your lunchbox typically had like your thermos, a sandwich, and then like there was a snack. Back then, Little Debbie's were popular. But if you had money, or at least came from some kind of middle class background, you had something like a fruit roll up in addition to your little Debbie or some kind of other snack. And, you were kind of admired. I remember eating lunch as a kid. Don't ask me why. Kid logic is unexplainable, right? But I would kind of shield what was in my lunchbox, eat my sandwich and kind of just dip my hand in to get the Little Debbie brownie. That was my favorite, and eat that quietly because I didn't want the kids to know that I wasn't like them. I wasn't one of the cool kids that had like the, fruit roll up or the squeeze it juice bottles or whatever. But I grew up poor, and that was kind of a stigma. And as I got older, I wanted to try and avoid that at all costs, right? But there are definitely certain things that parents, teachers, mentors, we tend to teach our children growing up because it just becomes part of our lexicon, our everyday supposed to sayings. And we're going to go over 3 of the most popular and some alternatives for what we should be teaching one another as well as our children to put them on a better path. So, number 1, education will solve everything. That's a lie. Or at the very least, it is an incomplete statement. Now, I am not saying that education is not important. Please understand. I am a huge proponent of education. I'm a big believer in being a well-rounded individual, going past just the reading, writing, arithmetic, and getting into the history and the reason why we should study it so we don't repeat prior mistakes, and the study of art and music. All of that is more than important. It's vital to be just becoming a human being, right? So what I'm saying is we should stop teaching our children that somehow, some way, education alone is a magic bullet that will solve all your problems in life and will make it possible for you to achieve the kind of life and lifestyle you've always dreamed of. That is simply not true. What is true is the study of a skill, something that someone else is willing to pay you for in exchange for some sort of currency, is the magic bullet to solving all of your problems in life. No kidding. I studied classics in college. That was my major. I don't know why I studied classics. I think I wanted to be like Dr. Jones from Indiana Jones. Literally, I believe that was my logic behind it. I was going to be an engineer, but I discovered I didn't like math enough. So I was like, I'll study classics, and that way I'll sound interesting at dinner parties. I remember saying that to someone one time. And not to say that my classics degree was worthless, because it has actually served me pretty well in several locations at several times in my life. But after getting my classics degree, the expectation is that, hey, you're smart, you have a degree, you got an education just like you were supposed to, there will be a job waiting for you. Well, let me tell you what actually happened. This is way before the internet. There was no monster.com and careerbuilder.coms back then. What you had was newspapers and want ads. Oh, you got your degree in hand and let's get a job now. And lo and behold, there's no jobs for classics majors. As a matter of fact, there's no jobs seeking wanted bachelor's degree. There was just nothing. I was a smart individual. I knew how to do some things like write a term paper and do research and that kind of stuff, but I didn't have an actual skill set. And so what I try and teach young people when I speak at high schools now is, hey, pursue an education. But if you're going to invest that kind of time and that kind of money into a degree, make sure you're walking away knowing how to do something with that degree. An accountant knows how to balance books. A doctor knows how to stitch up a cut. A lawyer knows how to write a brief. An architect knows how to, draw up plans. These are tangible skills. So someone says, what do you know how to do? These are the things I know how to do. I love history. I wouldn't major in it. I love political science. I wouldn't major in it. These are things to be minored in. Why? Because when you get out of school, I guarantee you there are no jobs that advertise wanted history major, wanted political science major. It just doesn't happen. I know it's not the most popular thing to say because we're supposed to stay on script and say, nope, all education is valuable. It's all valuable, but they're definitely not equal in the terms of getting remuneration for your skills in the workforce. So, lie number 1, education solves all problems. That's not true. Learning a skill will solve many problems. Lie number 2, hard work pays off. That's not true. I think it's very common knowledge that poor people tend to work much harder than wealthy people. Why is it that they don't have everything that wealthy people have? Why is it that a wealthy person understands the concepts of how to live the kind of life that poor people are chasing all the time when wealthy people don't tend to work nearly as hard, at least not the same type of work, right, as those who are poorer? Well, there's a reason. Hard work doesn't pay off. Consistent, smart work pays off. So when I lecture at schools and I have the opportunity to teach young people, I try and tell them, hey, you should work hard. You will always need to be in the pursuit of something if you want to get to another level in life, right? But hard work alone does not pay off. It is consistent, smart work that pays off. You talk to any sports and fitness coach, they'll tell you, hey, doing the same thing over and over again only makes you better at doing that one thing you're doing over and over again. And it could be the wrong way to do it. So practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. That is that consistent, smart work that I'm talking about. So we need to get out of the habit of just laying out that incomplete statement. Hey, hard work pays off. No, it doesn't. Consistent, smart work pays off. And the third lie that I believe we tell poor kids that make them poor adults is invest in 401ks and stocks. That seems to be just kind of like a lazy default answer of, oh my God, you got a job and it offers benefits and they do 401k dollar for dollar matching. That's incredible. That's actually not incredible. This is a holdover from the pension and profit sharing days when jobs used to actually offer real tangible retirement-like benefits. 401ks and mutual funds are not a replacement for profit sharing and pension plans. They're not. And we should stop trying to pitch them as that. In order for a person today to retire at 65, and they are more likely than ever to live past the age of 90, they are going to need an extremely grotesque amount of money saved up. And there's just no way that 401ks and savings plans and whatnot are actually going to help you do that. You actually need a better solution. Now, if you have no other plan in life and you have nothing else going on in terms of savings, yeah, take the free money all day long, the 401ks and the dollar for dollar matches or whatever it is. Do that because at least you're doing something, right? Until another opportunity comes along. But in the meantime, what we should be teaching our young people is self-duplication. Self-duplication is the path to wealth that we do not highlight or teach our young people. Now, what do I mean by that? Any person that we've ever met in life that has, or seen on television or read about in a magazine, has obtained some form of self-duplication. There are only 24 hours in a day, the last time I checked the physical universe we occupy. And there are only so many hours of that day that you can work, right? Because the rest is spent sleeping or eating or interacting with family, whatever. That means if you are always getting compensated for the time that you work, you will forever hit a ceiling of the max amount of money you can ever make. So if you get paid $50 an hour, which is actually pretty good pay, and you work 10 hours a day for 5 days a week, the maximum amount that you are going to be able to make is $500 times 5 days, $2,500 a week. That's it. That's all you will ever be able to make because you only have so much time to trade for money. To get around that, you have to learn how to duplicate yourself and do work once and get paid multiple times. And that's the secret to actually obtaining wealth that no one talks about. Do work once, get paid multiple times. So instead of just simply teaching our kids, hey, invest in 401k and someday you'll have enough money for retirement. No. Teach your kid how to create an audiobook for themselves and to place it on Audible or one of the other platforms. Teach them how to write their own children's stories and publish it in some form where multiple people can buy it. Teach them how to invest in real estate and buy homes and not sell those homes, but maybe rent them out so that you do work once and get paid multiple times. Self-duplication is the only true path to wealth. And I'm not talking about the lottery, obviously, because that's luck. That's not actual planning. Teach our kids how to duplicate themselves in those lessons, and they're going to be a lot better off than all of us were as we grew up. But hey, my time's up. I want to thank you so much if you've got to this far and listening. I'm still getting my sea legs when it comes to podcasting, so thank you for being patient with me. But I really do hope that we're sharing things here that if you don't agree with, at least makes you think and maybe prompts you to take some different action. And hey, if you got an idea or if you have a challenge to something that I've said, or maybe you just want to start a conversation, hit us up. Go to trygoldmine.com and send us a note. We love hearing from people, and we love to know what our followers and our customers and our clients are thinking and would like to hear more of or less of. So this is Dante Ormsby for Goldmine Radio signing off. Thank you so much for listening.